Hello and welcome to TXM TV. I'm Anthony Clyne and today I'm joined by Rob Chittenden. Hi Rob, how are you?
Hi Anthony, I'm fine, and hello everyone.
And it's also joined today by Luciano Peloche. Hi Luciano.
Hi Anthony, hi everyone.
And it's great to have Rob and Luciano join us, and we'll be talking about standard work and also the need to strategically align when designing your manufacturing and supply chain to deliver your company's goals. And so often at TXM, we get called in to help the operations area to improve their process. But one of the most important thing is to align what it is the operations are doing to deliver for the company. And that's for the company's strategic goal. And often there'll be a lot of investments gone into the product design and the marketing before that to position the product. And that defines the product in terms of its price, its value, and it's also the differentiating factors that enable the sales team to sell more of these products and achieve the company's strategic goal. So the most important thing is to get all of those functions aligned and ask the simple questions. What is it that's going to differentiate our product from our competitors? And how are we going to enable that in our operational supply chain? And what are the numbers and the metrics to do that? So for example, how many do we need to sell? Now that's a very basic one, but how are we going to sell those? Who are they going to be sold to? And what's going to differentiate us to make those sales easier? Is it around lead time? Is it around the degree of customization? Is it the price and the value proposition that the product provides the customer? Or is it something else that we're not sure of? And so we need to get all those functions in a room or together, those people, and work out what exactly it is that this product needs to do. So sometimes that will mean that we need to sell this many, we need to have a few ready to go in stock. Some of those need to be by model, and also what is the complexity equation? Is complexity built in at the start, or do we make them all the same and then customize them at the end? And that's a key design factor, but also adds a lot of value and strategic goals for the company. So we get everybody in the room and we agree these things. And once that's agreed, then we can come up with the most innovative or solid supply chain and manufacturing process that encompasses all of the cultural and physical needs of lean thinking to deliver that over time. So that's what we do at TXM. But we also do a lot of work around standardization and standard work. And Rob, we've been having a series of standard work on the show. What's on today?
Yeah, well, following on from last episode where we talked about standard work elements of we got to start with stability, we then define the task and then we improve the task. And that's a very simple cycle. But I thought I'd take the opportunity today to elaborate a little bit more on that. So standard work has to be based on standard tack time. Now that's the standard time a process takes. So in most, like we'd take an office environment, we might not know the average demand or the time it takes to make a quote. So we can have a look at how we can align our resources just to the sheer tack time. How much are we going to need to get this done? So standard time is important to understand how long it might take to do a quote, or at least the estimate times. 30 minutes is the time. It might vary a little bit, but let's understand what we need to. We then need to lower the work in progress. You know, when we go into offices and we look at standard processes, normally there are a lot of orders and quotes at various stages all over the office. In trays are full. We'll see quite a depth in those in trays. How do we lower the work in progress and catch up? So if we're behind, we need to catch up and just then set limits to what work in progress needs to be ongoing based on the tack time earlier. Try and start a first in, first out process. How do we get our quotes to be done in one continuous start to the end? And so we can start working on our first in, first out processes rather than leaving up to everybody's discretion of when things are done, or normally who shouts the loudest gets their quote first. Maybe we should be looking at a more systematic way of doing that. Following on from that, single piece flow. Is it possible to do a quote from start to finish? And get back to those principles of single piece flowing your quotes through and making them not stop. Do they need approvals? Do you need technical information? How do you get them to go in one go? Then you move on to everything needs to have a place. So we look at 5S for that. So we want to make sure that everything in the office or around the factory areas has a place. So when we're doing these processes for standard work, we need to have all the resources where we need to have them. So have a look at where your blank forms are, where your standard pricing list may be, where your documents might be on your server. All those things need to be defined. So do your 5S diligence there. Then standard work. What's the SOP? How do we do this task? And get down to the elements of how that is built up. And then finally, we look at key performance indicators. So having our metrics up so that we understand how long our processes take and where we're missing our opportunities, so that our work is all in front of us so that we don't lose track of it over time when we get busy. So that's delving a little bit deeper into standard work there, Anthony and Luciano. We're trying to get really deep at what that work looks like.
Fantastic, Rob. That's brilliant. And Luciano, you've got some examples of standard work or some stories.
Yes, Anthony and Rob. It's amazing that Rob finished with the KPIs. And it might sound a little bit cheesy, but standard work, it is indeed the path for continuous improvement. It's probably the first thing that we have to do in order to have continuous improvement in place. And probably managing the KPIs is the tool that we have to analyze and to actually acknowledge which are the things that are preventing standard work to happen. And I remember when I was working in another non-manufacturing business in a construction site, and they were a little bit reluctant in putting metrics in place because they were afraid to decrease the morale of the team, to expose the problems. And this is for me one of the biggest takeaways I have ever had in my consultant life, is because what I told the leader was, yes, if your approach is that the morale of the people will decrease because you are showing the problems, that will happen. But if you, on the other hand, use that to support the team to solve the problems and accomplish the daily tasks that they have to do, that's a totally different approach. And that will help the team to actually start doing continuous improvement. So this is exactly what happened. And I remember at the end of the project, that was a 2-month project, the guy sitting with me and said, you know what? I use this in normal projects in my lifetime. And we are still friends since then. That was 10 years ago.
That's brilliant. And,
yeah, it is, yeah. Luciano, one of the great sources for more information is not in the shameless plug for the book. Chapter 11 is about standardization. So Timothy McLean has written quite a fair bit about standardization. So there's plenty of material around how to standardize processes.
Fantastic, Rob. And thank you, Rob. Thank you, Luciano. And thank you for watching this episode of TXM TV. And remember, you can comment on our LinkedIn page and email us with your suggestions and feedback to txmtv@txm.com. I'm Anthony Clyne, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy this episode and join us for the next episode. Thank you.